So we've created this folder called currency. Then we're going to create files inside it. Let's start with a single file. We can call that currency.js. Currency.js. Okay. So start. Number one, we have inputs. I think 3 inputs. Let's add placeholders. Let's add placeholders to our inputs. So I'll click on the button. We want to add a new currency. So let's now add a new currency. Let's add the function to add new currency. What you're going to do is it will get whatever is inside this. Get whatever is inside this and get this rate. Then create an array of objects and place it inside that array of objects. And click on this button. I want to call on add new currency. So let's create a function called add new currency. So get whatever is inside these 3 inputs. So let's do that together. We can say on input call on add events. Set currency 1. let's add it in. Let's. So we're going to get 3 states. One will be currency 1, one will be currency 2, and one will be rates. So let's get the 3 states together. Okay, so let's just know what you've done so far. When you type anything inside this input, it will get whatever is inside that input and set it as the value of currency 1. Then when you type anything inside this input, it will get whatever you type inside the input and set it as the value of currency 2. If you type anything inside this input, it will get whatever is inside the input and set it as the value of the rate. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So next is when you click on this button, we want to get the 3 states and push them inside this all currencies. So you can say, on click of this button, say use states. Oh, sorry, change our currencies. Then help me to spread whatever might be inside our currencies. Then create a new object that we have currency 1, currency 2, and rates. Any question? When we click on this button, if you call on this function, then inside this function, you are calling on this change your currency. Help us to spread all currency, that whatever might be inside it, help us to put it here. After spreading it, create an object. Then this, when in ES6, when I write currency 1 like this, what you are saying is let currency 1 be currency 1. Can we remember? Charlotte, say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So what you are saying is create an object. Let the key be currency 1 and the value be currency 1. Also, let the key be currency 2 and the value be currency 2. And third, let the key be rate and the value be rate. So it's going to add it to this, to the all currencies. So next is we want to display all the currencies. We can create another component to display currencies. Let's create a new component called display currencies. So let's see, import.
Nice one.
What's that?
No. I'm just like, I'm related to what you just did, how you spread it.
Okay.
using that year 6 years. Yeah, bro.
So I want to bring in this display currencies component. So this helps us to display the currency. Now, sorry, let's change the name. Display currency. Now, the reason we are changing it is because this component we want to display one currency. You understand? It's as we move on. Like to display one currency, just a single currency. So now let's run our map. If we have two currencies here, then we want this component to be displayed twice. If you have three currencies, we want this component to be displayed 3 times. So we are going to use our map to undo that part. So I'm going to say all currencies dot map. Then we need the ID, the index. So dot map. The first is the currency, and the second is the index. Now display these components. Display this component. So if you have 3 currencies, yeah, this component will be displayed 3 times. But we are not yet done. We want it to be a table. So that this component can just be a row in the table. So let's create a table together. We have t-head and the t-body. So our table has t-head, t-body. Inside the t-head, we have the tr. Then we have our th. Then we have currency 1. Then th of currency 2. Oops, sorry. Okay. Then we add the rates. Then we have the results. Oh, sorry, inputs. Maybe is it the amount? No, amount you want to convert, something like that. Amounts to convert. Then we have the results. Do you get it? Any questions so far?
It's fine.
Okay. So then let's go to the t-body now.
No questions, sir.
Okay. We'll remove this part from this place. And so also the t-body will be taken out of this place. So we'll come here and close T body. Then we will compare and close our table. Then we can now see, instead of you being display currency, okay, yeah. So this display currency will now be a TR inside this table. Do we understand? It helps us to populate the table with TRs. Try and get there.
Could you hear me? Go to say.
Okay. Now, we have a table.
I don't understand what you just said now.
We have a table, Abi.
It's my network.
Yes. This table has a T
yes.
and T body. We've set the T head.
Yes.
The T body is responsible for populating our table with rows. With data. Now,
yes,
we ought to have a THAL inside this place. Something like, let me comment this part out. We ought to have something like this. THAL. Then
yes,
we have different TDs inside our THAL. This THAL will now represent each of the currencies.
Yes.
So, what we are just doing is, this display currency will now be the one to represent that THAL.
My network is breaking.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So this display currency will be the one to represent the THAL. Let's go to display currency and change this to THAL. Do you get it?
Oh, no, which kind? My network is breaking. Don't worry, I'll watch the video.
So let's move on. Next is, we pass this currency down. We pass it down as a prop. Then key. In fact, the key should be the first thing we should set. Key equals to index. So let's come here now and we save it. So we know that the currency represents each object in this array. It represents each object in the array. So let's now go to our table and say, you give us a TD. In that TD, currency dot currency 1. Remember, we set the currency 1 here. So since we know that currency represents each object in the array, in this array of all currencies, so we can now access them now. Currency dot currency 1. Let's copy, paste. Currency dot currency 2. Paste. Oops. Currency dot rate. So what else are we to add? We need to add the amount to convert. So for that one, we will make it an input. Oops, what am I doing? We make it an input. Okay. Then next is the results. We want the results to be whatever. Let's look at the calculation how it's going to be. The results will be whatever is going to take whatever you type inside this input then multiply it by the rates. Am I right? Or is it multiplication or division?
Yes.
Okay, multiplication. Okay. Now we come back to that. For now, let's just put a text. One of the issues we have now is this: we need to find a way of getting whatever is inside this input. Whatever the user types inside this input, we need to first get it. Then after getting it, we can now make use of it inside this result. Do you get it?
Yes.
So that's the next thing we want to do. So I can say input events then events a column. Okay, let's just call on a function. Let's call on a function. Okay, I'm looking at the best way to undo that part. Okay, yeah. Let's call on a function. Let's say get input val. Let's get the function together. Then let's add our event here so that we can pass it here. Then we can say e. Then next is get whatever the value the user types, then multiply it by weight. So you can say let's say my result equals to e dot target dot value times set. Are we following?
Yes.
Okay. So as the user types inside it, it will get the event, it will send it here, then get the target dot value, multiply it by rate. Next is we now want to display it inside this place.
It should just pick rate like that, Abby.
Oh, sorry, currency dot rates. I see that too. So we can do something now. Instead of saying currency every time, instead of saying, like, you need to say currency dot something. Yeah, currency
Yes.
dot, yeah, we currency dot. So we can just do something here. Let's come back in. Instead of sending the whole currency, we can or let's extract it here so that it's going to be clearer. We can say help us to, we want to destructure the rates from the currency, destructure structure rates, structure currency 1 and currency 2. Yeah.
So it will destructure everything like that.
Yes. It will pick it from currency and
Wow.
assign it to this. So next is we now want to display the results inside this place.
So we need the index again.
Yes, need the index. We may not necessarily need the index. To place the result here, now since this result is peculiar to this component.
No, I was thinking Sir?
What do you want to say? I think you wanted to ask a question. Are we
It doesn't
together?
need index.
No, we don't need index. The
I
reason we
was saying
don't
like so it
we don't need index.
okay.
Since we are
Ah,
passing,
oh, this my network is seizing.
you can proceed.
Oh, hello.
Hello, I
Shit.
can hear you.
I can hear you now. My network. Yeah, I can hear you now. What did you say? I said so it doesn't need index.
No,
Index is not necessary.
we don't need index. Don't.
Okay.
So since we are passing each currency down already,
So okay, automatic.
yes, each currency is now this. This is now the object. So we can now
Okay.
extract the rate, the currency 1, the currency 2 from that object. Do you get it? Then next is for this input. As insert types here, we are calling on this function. Then now help us to set, we want to set the result here. I want to say something. Since this is just peculiar to this component, it is not really necessary for us to now send it back to currency, and like as much as possible you want to reduce the rate at which you run your HTML. Now if I call on set state inside this place, if I call on set state, I mean these ones are called set states. If I call on all these set states, set currency 1, set currency 2, change all currencies, if I change the states inside this component, it's going to rerun these parts. It will rerun the HTML part, meaning that it will rerun all the display currency. It will rerun all of them. But if I call on it here, it will only rerun. If I call on set state here, if I change the state inside this component, it will only rerun that component alone. Are we getting it? Shall I get there? Can we hear me?
So I want to change my network.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright. So that's what we're trying to do. We are trying to reduce. We don't want to call as much as possible. If you can avoid calling on set states here, then if you can avoid, then it's better. That's what we're trying to do now. We want to find a way of calling on it, calling set state instead of calling it on the currency.js. So let's do that together. For our results, we can create a state. Let's my result, comma, set results, use states, this. So let's even just call it results. I think result is better. Then we can now say set results. What do you want to set my results? So it will only run that component alone. What do you want to put here? Results. Do you understand? Shojiwa.
Yes.
Okay. I think we are done. Let's run it on the browser. Let's look at it again. Okay. Let's run it on the browser now. Oh, okay. Let's first run it. If it's fine, then we add the what's it called? The local storage and all of that. We add it. Or should we add it now before running it? What should we do first? Should we add the local storage parts?
Hello?
Hello, I'm saying that should we complete the whole projects before running it, or we should first run it and we are yet to add local storage.
It's better we complete it because of the recording.
Okay. So let's bring in the local
Mm.
storage. Whenever we had a new currency, we want to save it in our local storage. So what you're going to do is this, on adding new currency. After setting this, help us to push it to the ones in local storage. So let's call on let well, let's do it for let local storage storage currencies equals to local storage dot currencies. So that is get the currencies in the local storage. Then after getting it, help us to json.pass. Help us to pass it. So the assumption is that the currencies in our local storage is an array of objects. Are we getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So help us to get it, help us to pass it. Then you can now say local storage dot currencies dot push. If it's an array of objects, once you pass it, you still have an array of objects. So we can push a new currency.
Please, can you come again, please?
Okay.
Like from, please. I'm very sorry.
Okay. So we are assuming that we have an array of objects in our local storage
Yes.
called currencies.
Yes.
We are getting that currencies here from local storage.
Okay.
When you pass it, normally items are stored as strings in local storage.
Yes.
So we want to convert it back to an array of objects. That's why we are running this json.pass.
Okay.
So to now convert it back to an array of objects, meaning that this local storage currency is now an array of objects. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So we can now push this into its push this object.
Okay. So because it's an object, we are pushing the coily braces inside.
Is that? So it will now push this object there.
Okay.
So of course, again, this is year 6. What you are doing is the key and the value pair should be currency 1. The key and the value pair should be currency 2. The rate should also be rates. Do you get it?
Yes.
Okay. So after pushing it, help us to set it back in local storage. Local storage dot set item. Set item currencies. Then okay. Help us to set currencies. Yeah. But I said whenever I want to use local storage, make it to be what's it called? Async await, like make it a promise. So that's what we want to do now. We can say this, change this function to async function. We'll be able to run await inside it. We can now say we are assuming that this is not something that will happen immediately, because I said whenever you are making requests to your server, it's not going to happen immediately. So in the same sense, we are trying to mimic what will happen on the server. Shall I get?
Yes.
So if I say okay, async await, or let's just use our set item. Normally this is what you should have done. Async await, wait for this, then let this happen. Okay, await this also. Now note where we are running await. We are running await at that particular point that we are making requests to the server. It is await. When it sees this await, it will delay line 12 till it completes the function of line 11. When it sees this await, it will delay line 14 till it completes the function on line 13. Although these things happen immediately, but I just want us to get used to it because soon we will start connecting it to back end. We'll start connecting to back end. So normally, whenever you are making any request to the server, it doesn't happen immediately. It takes time. So help us to delay this till this is done. Because if you are unable to get local storage currencies, then there will be nothing to push to. Do you understand? This will throw back an error.
Yes.
Throw back error. Good. So also help us to delay this till this is done, so that we want to be sure that we've pushed it to the server before setting our states.
I don't understand you. Please come again.
You know, we are assuming that this is our server now, Abi.
Yes.
So we are setting it back to the server. Then when
Okay.
it is now done, now set it inside the states.
Okay.
So next is, unfortunately,
But
whenever you
I'm sorry.
yes,
I'm sorry. But is that not a string?
this.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, the key name of set item should be a string. Oh, the value name, the key and the value. Just send us stringify. The value name should be, okay, we will now put our value there now.
Okay.
So that would be what? Good. Charlie, tẹ̀síwájú.
Yes.
Okay. So after doing the, unfortunately, this async await does not have something like dot catch. You know, whenever you are using dot then, I think I explained to us then, if you are using promise, you can use dot then use dot catch to catch error in case this is not successful. It's possible for it not to be successful. Possible.
Oh.
Yes, it's possible. So that's why it's always good you catch the error so that you know whether it's successful or not. So we're going to run our try catch. If you are using dots then and dots then it has its own dot catch. But if you are not using dots then you need to use your try catch.
Okay.
Cut all of this, put it in the try. If there's an error at any point, it goes to the catch. I'll just say console.
Okay.
Okay. So, what else? We've added this for the new currency. Okay, now let's look at a special case. What if we are, I'm just landing on the page for the very first time and we are adding the new currency? You know, that means this local storage dots currencies will not exist. Have been now.
It should be empty. Yes, it will not exist.
It's not going to exist. So let's undo that part. We're going to say if okay, await if there is anything called local storage dots currencies, then help us to do this, else let all currencies be an empty array. Else just let it be an empty array. Okay, what else do we then need to do? Okay, then the next thing is this. I think we are fine now. I will show you what it will be.
Yes.
Okay, good. Next thing is, if I land on the page for the very first time, if I've saved some data, let's say I've saved some data in my local storage, then I close the browser and come back to it later. What we want to do is we want to quickly go to the local storage.
But why is it underlining this await?
Which one? Okay. I don't know the reason for this. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Now, if let's assume I save some data in my local storage and I go back to it later. I mean, I close the browser, then go back to it. Immediately I load the browser, I want to quickly go to my local storage and fetch the data. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the next thing we want to do. So that brings us to our use effect. We're going to say use effect. It takes a callback and an array of arguments or of dependencies. You know, if it is empty, it means that it's going to run it immediately. It loads the HTML part. It will quickly come in here and load it. So
Yes.
what we want to do is we run this part. We run this part. Okay, we run this part. Go to local storage and help us to fetch it. That's the line we need there. So now it's still an error because you can't use an await inside a function that is not an async. Shall I understand? We put async
Okay.
here
Yes.
so that we can use await. Yes.
The word of asynchronous there.
Yes. So you can create a function. Never put async on this callback.
That was what I was about saying.
No, don't put async on the callback. So there are things you can do. Number one, you can create a separate function. Then now bring this inside our function. You can put async here now. So it's fine now. Then after getting it from local storage, help us to call on this so whatever it is, you fetch from the local storage. Go to the local storage, go and fetch it. Whatever it is that you fetch from the local storage, help us to set it as value of state. You know, if it doesn't exist in local storage, then it's going to be an empty array. Have you know?
So, come again, sir. If it doesn't.
If it doesn't exist, these are conditions.
Yes.
If there's nothing like that in local storage, then it will return an empty
array.
But
okay, that's why there's a dependency.
No.
Okay, that's sorry.
That's why
that's
we have this
the binary operator.
Yes, so if it doesn't exist in local storage, then return an empty array. But if it exists, go to local storage, go and fetch it for us, and set it as the value of local storage. Then next,
so that's why I'm very sorry. That's why when we first open the page, we first see an empty array.
When
we use this function now, when we use this use effect, when we open any page, this page now, when we open it, the first thing we will see is the array.
Yes, it's supposed to be an empty array.
In the local storage.
Yes, it will be an to quickly go to local storage and go and fetch it. If it exists, it will use the one in local storage. If it doesn't exist, it will use this empty array.
Okay, I guess it's
so let's set it back as the value of state now. So remove this and set it as local storage classes. Any question? So once you set it, the states will update itself immediately. Then we are not yet done. You need to call on this function now. This is a function. Abina.
I'm trying to understand the last part. Is local storage correct? Is it an array?
Yes, it's going to be an array because Well, imagine we load the page the very first time.
Okay.
This will not.
Okay.
This condition will not be met, Abi.
Yes. Yes.
So it will
Yes.
go to the else
Okay.
and return this array.
Okay.
Then it will be an empty array. Then we can now each time we had an item to hit now. When you call on this add new item, it will get whatever is
It
in
will
the
take
local
the
storage.
array.
Yes, and remember it's still to get whatever is there, then push it to this and set it back to local storage. So the local storage will now be an array of objects. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. What else? I think we are good to go now. So that's all for now. Is there any other thing that I need to check? Then look at it. We are calling on this function here because we had to, because of this awaits, we had to create a function.
Code
function.
So we need to call on this function. So I think that's all.
So it is basically okay.
Any question?
I want to see the code. Yeah, please. Sorry, please don't go yet. I'm trying to understand something. Okay, you can go.
Okay. So let's run it. So vamos al browser. Let's wait for it. Hope we love React.
I feel like it is making JavaScript like it's making it more like it's making it more easier and making it do the mistakes like one has been going through in the previous like in year 6 in my own case, right?
Okay.
So I've enjoyed it so far
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
until then.
It's like this till end. Let you browser.
Mm. So how many more classes do we have on React like this?
Ah.
What's your fair going?
Equal charge of mashallah.
No more compare more like when in
Okay, we still
particular.
have. These are those things we still have left. We're going to learn routing, state management. State management alone might take about 2 classes.
Okay.
Formic and Yup. Formic and Yup.
Formic and
Yup. Why Yup?
Wow.
Yup. Formic and Yup, we are mainly meant to handle your form. They are form handlers in React.js. Then you are going to learn more about um, middlewares. This thing here. You learn about middleware. You will learn about custom. What's it called? Working. This use state, use effects.
Okay.
There's a general name for all of them. Hooks, yeah.
Hooks, okay.
Yeah. So you're going to learn how to create your own hooks, custom hooks.
Yes. That you're working how you want.
Yes, the way you want it.
Wow.
Custom hooks. Then, what else do we still need to learn? Okay, of course, you will learn how to upload your project online so that you're able to serve your project for people to see. Then, as time goes on, we just the CSS, of course. We've not been using CSS at all.
That's CSS.
So we're going to see how to bring it into your project also. We still have many things to learn, but they are not difficult things. They are not difficult things.
So I did like, sorry for my question, I did like something we've done in year 6, or like they are new things entirely?
They are all functions. They are very interesting things. The hardest thing in React is this thing, states, props. Once you understand states and props in React, other things, the only part that you might have issues with a bit is that state management. And you see, it's this state management. And why, in fact, if you are building a small project, you don't need it. You only need it when you are building a big project. The reason why it's very essential, why we wait for this to load, the reason state management is, why we are going to learn it is this. You see, when you're building a big project, we have many components, hundreds of components. And before you know, remember, the owner of a component must be the one to edit the value of that component, must be the one to edit the state. The owner of the state must be the good. So, as time goes on, you'll be sharing data across different components. And as you share this data, you realize that you have to bring the data back to your app.js, like the roots.
Yes.
Stuff. So before you know it, it becomes too big and bulky and it has too many data there. So it may be confusing. That's why you use a third-party library.
Okay.
So we're going to bring in a third-party library to handle our states
management.
Yeah, for states management when it's big. But if it's a small app, you don't need a third-party library. Your props is enough to handle your states. But if it's a big app, then you bring it in. Okay, let's add the first one. Let me first check my console. There is no power there.
What's that?
No, I opened the console in case to know if there's any error.
Any error?
Yeah. Let's add another currency. Let's see. Okay. Okay, what's pounds rate now?
What's what?
Pounds to now.
950, I think.
Okay, let's now do this. Good.
They work well.
So I think everything is fine now.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any question?
From me, no for now. Until I call.
Alright. Thank you very much.
Alright, bro.